Once you've built out your HTML document, in order to really bring it to life, you need to add some styling. And within the HTML part of this course, we had looked at how we can do this style, so add these inline style tags. And these in itself, they're going to be CSS tags themselves. So here, if I want to set a background color for this particular section, I can do it this way. And if I want to add in a color, a font color, so I can do it this way. So I want to add in maybe a more blue color, and so on. So I can continue to add in a bunch of style to this particular element in HTML, and when I go out here, I can see that my style has been applied. So anything that falls within that element gets this styling applied to it. Now this really, the thing with styling is that it's meant to save you time, and it's meant to be easy to manipulate and maneuver and change. So this is why we prefer to bring styling out of the particular elements of HTML, and we want to break it up and use it within style or connect it to a style sheet, so a CSS sheet itself. The reason being that if we had several different divs here and we want to apply that styling to both divs, we would have to rewrite that code and repaste that code, and becomes to be a lot of work with styling itself. And especially if we want to apply different styles, so if we want to build out this navigation menu, so we'd have to apply a whole bunch of style attributes to these elements, and we'd have to do it over and over and over and over again in order for it to apply across all these different elements. So it's really not the most efficient way to add in styling into your web page. So a better way to do that would be to use the styling sheet. And the way that we do that, so what we're doing is we're just attaching this styling to this div. So we're going to be able to remove out style. We're not going to have to copy and paste style over like this into every single div that we want to apply this styling to. And we just want to have a universal background color for any div that we're creating. And then as well have a font color. So the way to do that is we just create using the tag div, because we want to apply it to all divs. And we're going to talk about how to be more specific later on, and how to be able to select specific elements, adding in styling to specific elements within HTML. So you can see here that once we remove this and we go back out to the page, we can see here that we still hadn't refreshed it, but now when we do refresh it, we've got that same set of styling applied to both, and this would go for any additional div that we create. So if we were to create a brand new div here, adding text, and we close that off, we can see that in fact this is going to get applied to this one as well. So I'm going to put some padding so you can see the spacing between the divs. So I'm just going to apply some uniform padding around them so you can see that there is actually spacing between them. Or actually that should be margin. So I apply a margin. So margin is on the outside, padding is on the inside, and that's why we're getting that gray background applied to anything within it. So it was adding that padding, but we're going to get into this later on within this course as well. So as you can see here, we've got our three divs. We've got the content within the divs, and we didn't have to go to each div individually and apply that style attribute to them. So we could just apply it across the board to all the divs. And this is how you apply the inline styling. But what if we want to even separate it out even more, where we want to have a universal style sheet that we can just link into and have that go across all of our web pages? So if we had maybe 4 different web pages, and we didn't want to rewrite all of this style, and it's not really going to be specific for that particular page. We want them all to look the same. So we want all the divs across our entire website to have these styling attributes. So what we can do, we can just remove that out, and we can link to the style sheet. So link, and linking to a style sheet, and then just the path to the style sheet. So as you can see here, we do have another file. It's called a CSS file, and it's within that same root directory as our index page. So you always have to make sure that you do get that path correct. And within Dreamweaver, it automatically attaches that style sheet just below, and you can see here's the path to the style sheet. So I can easily flip back and forth. So this is going to be the same thing that we have within our code over here, and you're probably going to see me flipping back and forth this way in the course. So just so that you know that this is just this CSS file, and it's not going to be actually contained within that HTML. It's just because I've linked over to that style CSS, and Dreamweaver just makes it easier for you to just split between and maneuver between the two different files. So this is still that index.html, and then we're linking to the style CSS, and that's just over here.